Well, I didn't really know what to do with this request, so I know you're Snooker Loopy nuts, so here we go. Might as well, rather than just talking, I might as well try and sing it. So, Snooker Loopy nuts are we, me and him and them and me. We'll show you what we can do with a load of balls and a snooker cue. Pot the red, then screw back for the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink and black. Snooker Loopy nuts are we. We're all snooker loopy. Bum 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 bum.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Snooker Loopy podcast. My name is Tom Mayhew, and I'm joined as always by my very good friend, it's Joe, the Bulldog Hannard.
Good evening, Hazel. Good evening, everybody at home, and happy summer, everybody. Hello, Tom. It's been a while. It has been a while, and not only in podcast terms, but also, me and Tom haven't chatted for a little bit either. I think both have been fairly busy in our respective lives, and that sort of coincided with the quieter months of snooker, and it's worked out quite well, actually. That's been a bit of a summer break for us, but not too long. Not like some of the podcasts out there. We're still churning out the content, aren't we?
Yeah, well, you've, of course, Joe, you're a teacher, so you've been on your Q school holidays.
Yes. Hey.
And with no snooker on, all it's really been is the Olympics, but I'm enjoying the fact that I can watch the Olympics and still go
Olympics.
You can still go evening, Hazel. She's still there.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Hazel. It has been funny that people from the skateboarding community have been going, "Thank you, Hazel," and I mean, Dennis has had such a wide impact on the world, hasn't he?
What Olympic sport do you think Dennis would do if he could do any sport? What do you think he'd do?
The current Olympic sport.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him do breakdancing.
That is the correct choice. I'd love to see him do breakdancing.
I think he'd also be pretty good at speed climbing.
Well, I'd quite like to see him do the 1,600 metres.
Wow. I think he'd struggle to run 10, if I'm honest.
That's why it'd be exciting, because he'd be lapped, and you'd be like, he'd still be going around going, "Oh, I'm knackered, Hazel." It'd be brilliant.
Hazel would go, "Right, we're going to cross over to Dennis now." And he goes, "No, Hazel. No, thank you, Hazel."
Oh, that'd be great, man. I'd love to see him do that. Has there been any other snooker players? I know Ronnie's very big at running, obviously. Has there been any other players who could do some sort of sport? I'm trying to think what other hobbies they have, because Ali Carter loves flying planes, but I don't think flying
That's
is
not
an
Olympic sport. That's a good question, actually. I've not really thought about that before. Yeah, that's possibly one for our viewers or listeners to get in touch. Can you think of any players that have done any sports other than running? Obviously, we've got marathon man Ricky Walden.
Mm-hmm. Because he won one... Was it a half marathon he ran or something like that?
I think so, yeah. One half marathon in his life.
I'd like to see, like, Rod Lawler do the high jump.
Yes, who would win the snooker Olympics?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I mean, Ronnie would win the running events.
Well, it's whether we could get them all doing the modern pentathlon, so that there's a bit of everything in there.
Yeah? Oh, I mean, Dominic Dale, because he's the spaceman, he'd be good at things like high jump and stuff like that. He's used to being up high.
I think he'd also be pretty good at equestrian. I think he'd look good in the sort of the jockey uniform.
Yeah? And which player's going to be the horse?
Oh, well, I'll let you decide that one, Tom.
Well, yeah, probably a player who's no longer on tour because of bad behaviour.
Yes.
Probably, I would say.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean, speaking of which, we have had another player banned, haven't we, from snooker recently?
Yeah, Michael White, who, I mean, I don't think you have to say allegedly anymore, has been found guilty of attacking his partner on a number of occasions, and he's been in prison for 3 years. And I hope that he gets some sort of snooker ban on top of it, because that they've said, "Oh, we're going to take him off the rankings." And it's like, yeah, but he would have fallen off anyway because he'd be in prison. Do you know what I mean? He's gonna fall off anyway. No one's gonna go, "Oh, Michael White's allowed to come out to play disqualifier." So I'd like them to go, "We're going to give him an extra ban on top of it," or just not let him back in, because it feels like otherwise it'd send a bit of a strange signal to me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I was quite surprised seeing the news, and quite surprised that WST hadn't done anything a bit sooner. But we know that these processes are a bit strange and don't actually follow what you'd normally expect. So, obviously, hope everybody involved in the case is okay, and good to see that the laws come down on him. And there's certainly, from my point of view, there's certainly no place for him in the sport going forward. But yeah, I thought we should bring it up, because as much as we like to talk about the silly side of snooker, we do also talk about the serious sides as well. And some people might not have known about that. But swiftly moving on, we did have some good news in the summer break, didn't we, about Crafty Ken. I don't know if we got a chance. I don't think we got a chance to talk about this in the last episode. So
I think we briefly mentioned it.
We might have briefly mentioned it.
But Ken has got another 2-year tour card, so he's back playing, which of course everyone, I think, well, not just us, but everyone involved in snooker probably would agree that he deserves it, and he's enough of a character and a good enough player that And frankly, I think the whole sort of debate over invitational tour cards feels a bit silly when we don't even have 128 professional players at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're not gonna I think they should just give those top-up players an actual tour card. I think it's a bit absurd to not do that. But if
especially because if one of them actually does quite well this season and does enough to get a tour card off the 1 year list, then it's a shame that they have to give up all of their points. We've talked about that in the past. Speaking of somebody that got their tour card on a 1 year list, Jimmy White. Decent start to the season for him. I don't think he's won a match yet, but I seen he got to a final frame decider against C in a recent qualifying event. So, yeah, good to see. Because he obviously played really well to get his tour card back. And then just sort of went anonymous again last season. So, hopefully, we'll start to see some good performances from Jimmy White over the next year. And maybe get himself back onto the tour again via merit. That would be really good.
Yeah, that'd be great. It'd be lovely to see. I think another player who has done very well to start off the season is podcast favourite David Lilly. He's been picking up a number of wins. I think he's, he crept into the top 64 for the first time in his career, at the age of 48, which I've never known another player have such a astonishing career, which has only been when they're above 40, because I think he turned pro in his 40s for the first time. He's just got into the top 64, and now he's won it. I think he's won 3 matches this season. He's
number 7 on the 1 year list at the moment, Tom. So
I'm just saying. People would have thought, "Why are you talking about David Lilly so much?" We've been proven right, Joe. We've been proven right.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any other podcast famous folks on there. Stuart Bingham, number 9 on the 1 year list. Good to see. Sean Murphy, number 17. Other than that, there's not too many, I'm afraid. But yeah, obviously very, very early days in the season. We had the Championship League, which Ali Carter eventually won. He did also win an exhibition in Helsinki, which I know that they were they put on out there in Finland. And yeah, he beat Kyron Wilson, I think, in the final there. I think Jack Jones got to the semi-final. So interesting to see the world finalists getting off to a decent start to the season. But the big tournament, Tom, was the Shanghai Masters. That's been the only serious bit of snooker, I would say, since the World Championships. And I don't know, did you get a chance to watch much of that?
Not especially, no. I always would follow it and follow the results, but I didn't get much chance to watch any matches. I might sort of watch, WST do a good thing at the moment where they do put up highlights occasionally, so I would have watched some of them. But yeah, that's of course not a ranking tournament, but even so, a lot of money on play. It basically is it the top 16 who qualify for that?
It's the top 16 and then the top 8 Chinese ranked players that haven't already qualified. So there's 24 players in the tournament, and I think it's become a very prestigious tournament actually since it's turned to that invitational style. Ronnie had famously won the last 4 tournaments, I think it was, got to the semi-final. And played against Judd Trump and got absolutely hammered. It was 10-3, I think, in the end to Judd Trump. But sadly, on that very same day, we had the news of Ray Reardon's passing. And that was, I wouldn't necessarily say it was shocking news, but it was one of those where you sort of look at your phone when you get the notification and you see Ray Reardon and your heart sinks because you know what it's going to say after that. And that it was one of those moments. It doesn't happen very often for me where I see, a celebrity, or in this case, a former snooker player die, and definitely felt something because Ray Reardon was just such a smashing character, wasn't he? And he will be sorely missed.
Well, I think celebrity actually is the right word, because there was lots of stuff on the news where they basically said that, in terms of the public consensus and people knowing snooker players, like the first 2 players a lot of people knew would have been Ray Reardon and Alex Higgins. So he would have been one of the first players who people might have had posters of or people would have seen on TV. He was part of that big boom in the 70s leading into the 80s, and he was just a massive figure in snooker, like absolutely huge, and I don't think it could be overstated his impact on the game and also just his impact on the sport as a sort of representative of it. I think he always held himself very well, and I think we will do a proper sort of Ray Reardon tribute special at some point where we'll get a Ray Reardon themed Cue the Laughter.
Well, didn't he release a single?
We'll track that down. Exactly.
We've got to track that down.
Because I don't think anyone else has got that. That would be a world exclusive.
Yes.
And now we can't even ask him why he did it, so that just adds even more mystery to it.
We can. We'll just have to wait a long time until we're up there with him, and then we can get him on the podcast up there.
Only us would get to heaven, where I presume Ray Reardon is, and still be doing the Snooker Loopy podcast.
Yeah. Come on, Ray. It's your turn now. Yeah.
Evening, Jesus.
Yes, very good evening, Hazel. We can finally get Hazel on the podcast because, as much as I love Hazel, I presume she will be there before us, but... yeah. But anyway, I digress. No, I think that would be good, a Ray Reardon special. I mean, one of my favourite stories is a more recent one, actually, that he got a century break only a couple of weeks before he died. And that's just incredible, isn't it, really? Somebody, at that age, is still playing snooker and still playing to a standard where they can put in a break of more than 20 and never mind a century. I think that's quite amazing. When you look at, when we watch the seniors, people playing at the Crucible, there's probably only been single figure number of centuries in that tournament ever. Mm-hmm. So for Ray Reardon to get a century a few weeks before he sadly died, then that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's incredible, absolutely incredible, and he'll be sorely missed from snooker. So yeah, we will be really sad he's no longer here. But I mean, it happens to all of us, and luckily we still do have a lot of legends alive, Joe. And of course, I did tell you on a previous episode that I was going to be seeing an exhibition
Oh,
That
yes.
was going to be played. That's next month, I believe. And it was supposed to be Stephen Hendry against Mark Williams. But we got an email 2 days ago saying that Stephen Hendry has pulled out.
Oh, no. Oh.
So unreliable nowadays.
I think he found out you were there, and he was probably a little bit worried that you were going to ask him to sing Snooker Loopy.
Well, I was going to, so he was right to be worried, but he has been replaced by Jimmy White.
Hey, that's okay. I was a bit worried there that you were going to say he was replaced by Judd Trump or something, but...
No, it's Jimmy White. I might get Jimmy to sign my copy of Minted, and he'll just go, I can't believe someone's bought this.
Yes, no, you absolutely have to. And you also have to ask him if he'll sing Snooker Loopy. You know, apparently he will not go on Stephen Hendry's YouTube channel.
Really?
Yeah. Don't know why, but he won't.
I mean, has a number of World Championship finals got something to do with it?
Possibly, but I think they are friends now, so I don't know.
But maybe because maybe he knows that if he does it, he'll have to discuss it with Stephen, and maybe he'd want to just smack him with a cue. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah.
You don't want to be sat there with Stephen going, "Oh, so Jimmy, how does it feel when I beat you in all those finals?" I get it in a way. Yeah.
And also in Stephen Hendry news, have you heard his podcast has now got more hosts?
No.
Yes, the Snooker Club podcast has now got 5 guest hosts. I guess it's so that Stephen Hendry can, bugger off for a bit. But yes, I will try and find you the names of who has took over the Snooker Club podcast. But it includes Michael Holt, Alan Taylor, I believe. Is it Matthew Selt as well, possibly?
Matthew Selt? That's surprising, because Michael Holt has got his own YouTube channel, so I was like, okay, fair enough. Alan Taylor's known for sort of MCing and his impressions, so I was like, okay. I've never really picked Matthew Selt as a media guy, do you know what I mean? But
I'm trying desperately to find it, but I can't find the actual tweet with it all on there. But yeah, just a really weird thing that the rival podcast have branched out to more hosts. But if I can think of any other hosts, I will pass them on. But yeah, I think those 3 were definitely on it. Maybe Mark Allen as well. Actually, might be Mark Allen.
Really?
Might be Mark Allen, yeah. Bizarre.
I don't know how they... Do you reckon they sent out a big group email to all the snooker players asking if they wanted to do it?
Yeah, and you must be
yes.
mates with Stephen Hendry, I guess. Must be the and Mark Williams said no. I'm guessing.
And Stephen didn't want to work with Sean Murphy, clearly, because he would definitely have said yes.
Yeah, well, it's whether he thought, they're the rival podcast.
That's true. He's got his own podcast.
Yeah, he's got his own. Yeah,
he's got his own one.
Yeah. But...
there we go. Well, but there we are. So, yeah, if you don't like us, you can listen to Matthew Selt. What a sentence to say out loud.
Yeah, and speaking of Sean Murphy, he actually got the final of the Shanghai Masters, didn't he? And played quite well.
He was playing very well that tournament. He was doing very good. Very good.
Yeah,
it would be good to see him. It's always good to see him have a good run. I think he's very... I almost think because he's such a... to use that phrase again, he's very much a media guy. And I always think that sometimes his personality overshadows his talent, whereas people focus on going, oh, I don't like what he says, or oh, I think he's a good presenter, whichever side they're on. But it almost makes people forget that he's actually... he's one of the greats, really, in terms of his ranking titles and Triple Crown and all that stuff. He's a very good player.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he really should be multiple Triple Crown winner. It's just not quite happened for him, has it? And, it's crazy to think that next year it'll be the 20th anniversary of his first world title.
crazy.
So if he goes on to win it next year, that's going to be by far the longest between, well, A, 2 world titles, and B, your first and your second.
Yeah.
You know, I think Alex Higgins and John Higgins, I think both, it was 10 years between their first and their second. And Mark Williams obviously had 15 years between his second and his third. So, you know, I mean, 20 years, that would be a massive gap. But, you know, you've also got the likes of Neil Robertson, who are, you know, it's 15 years since he won it next year. Graham Dott, it'll be 19 years. So, you know, maybe if the Graham Dott comeback happens this season, he could break the record.
Or Joe Johnson.
Or Joe Johnson, absolutely, yeah. Could be Joe Johnson. I'm a little bit more skeptical about that one.
Joe Johnson, Graham Dott final, mate. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it could well do if a breakaway tour happens and that they're all that's left.
Well, that seems to have gone very quiet, Joe. Like, I think a lot of us were the end of last season thinking, could this be the last season with WST as the prominent tour and all those things? Whereas it seems like that's kind of dead in the water at the moment. I think with the Saudi Arabian events, I feel a lot of players know that it'd be a stupid thing to do right now because, you know, literally players are going to go to Saudi Arabia and picking up more money than most of them have probably earned in their careers just for winning one match if they can do it.
Yeah, I think Ronnie, when he signed his exclusive deal with WST to sort of promote Saudi over the next 3 years, I think that's what sort of killed it. Maybe players were thinking, oh well, we're not gonna win it in a tour against Ronnie, so it's probably not the best idea. Whether it will resurface again in the future, I don't know. I think a lot depends actually on how good a season Ronnie has this year. I think the fact he had such a good season last year, obviously won 5 tournaments and very nearly won the Triple Crown in one season. I think that sort of carried snooker last season in terms of how much talk there was around it, how much media it had, and then, of course, you had the big talk about whether the World Championship would stay at the Crucible as well. So, yeah, I think they were quite lucky last year. If Ronnie has a really dodgy season this season, then we could be getting towards breakaway talks again by the World Championship, but who knows? That's just
Ronnie will be talking about it all the time anyway, because that's what he does.
Yeah. He loves
stirring that pot. He loves stirring the pot. That's what he loves doing.
Do you remember when he said a few years ago that he'd already set up a breakaway tour and he was ready to go? And you know,
wasn't he talking about inviting was it Chow Yu Peng and Yu Lu or something like that, and all those kind of band players,
and then John Higgins,
yeah,
randomly, although maybe not so randomly, yeah. But no,
I think he I don't think Ronnie would be bothered. Do you know what I mean? I think in his head he likes the idea, but I genuinely don't think he has the drive to do it. Do you know what I mean? I think at his age he knows that it would basically all rely on him, because I don't think there's any other player with the profile that they'd be able to do it. You know,
unless Ronnie is going to take Judd Trump with him and really build Judd Trump as being the new people's champion, I just don't think they could do it. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see how this season develops. Obviously, we've got the Saudi Arabian Masters at the end of the month, haven't we? So I think that will be a bit of an eye opener. I think all of the rounds are taking place in Riyadh, so all 128 snooker players are going out there. How they're affording that, I don't know. I don't know if WST are paying for them. I don't know if the Saudis are paying for them. But that's big news, because more recently, we've had these sort of last 1-8 qualifiers happening in England, and then they go out to China. We've got the Jan Grand Prix as well coming up.
Yep.
19th of August to the 25th, and then very intrigued to see how the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters goes. I don't even know if it's on Eurosport, Tom.
It must be, mate. Unless it's got their own
not sure
Saudi snooker channel.
I think it's going to be on Matchroom.
Jack Lisowski? I want to see Jack dressed up. That's all I want to see.
Yeah. But no, as I say, that will be interesting. It's a best of 19 final, so it's taken a much more normal approach to what the Riyadh Masters did. That there won't be a golden ball and that sort of thing in this one. But I do believe that event.
The golden ball.
I do believe that event will be happening again. Sort of before the World Championship. So, yeah. Exciting season ahead, I think. Very interesting season. There's a lot of players that are going to really struggle come the end of the season for their tour card. And one of those players, Tom, is a former world champion. I don't know if you can guess who I'm going to talk about here.
I mean, part of me thinks, is it Luca Brissell?
It is Luca Brissell. So Luca Brissell currently... On the end of season ranking is number 55. So, I'm not saying it will happen, but there's a distinct possibility that 2 years after Luca Brissell's World Championship victory, he could drop off the tour. Some of the other players down there, you've got Joe Perry down there, Anthony Hamilton, Graham Dott, Graham Dott, Anthony McGill, Matthew Stevens. There could be a real changing of the guard here of a lot of high-profile players dropping off the circuit if they don't get the results this season. So, Neil Robertson currently is number 36 on the end of year list. So. A lot of it depends on players below having better seasons than them. But it's not beyond the realms of possibility that we could see a fair few shocks dropping off the tour this year. And I think the World Championship qualifiers are going to be stacked with talent this year. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, well, much like last year. Do you know what I mean? Like the fact that last year was like the best ever performance by qualifiers, and it just shows that the lower half of the tour really is probably as strong as it's ever been, and it's only going to get, I'd say, stronger. Really, another thing that's been nice, another big result actually was Mustafa Dorgum. Is that his name? I think that's his name. Mm-hmm. He won a qualifier against Ricky Walden.
Well, there you go.
5-4. And, just for years when people were given a tour card from Africa, people would go, it's a waste of time, they don't win a match. And that was true for years. But now there's even players who are, from Egypt who they can compete. And I think it shows that worldwide it's getting stronger. And, there's no sort of lower players on tour, really. I think everyone can compete, and apart from, possibly some of the younger players who get certain tour cards or stuff like that, players who need the experience, I'd say generally anyone can beat anyone from 128 up to probably about 35.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe what's said about the strength in depth, and maybe what we don't appreciate about it is, although most of these players will never break into the top 16, most of them are capable of breaking into at least the top 64, if not the top 50. But yeah, we'll see how they get on this season. There's always a couple that end up getting to multiple ranking quarterfinals, and I think last year, there was a player called He Gudong, was it? Who did really, really well last season. and obviously Daniel Wells did it as an amateur. He was really solid. Got into the top 64 just as being an amateur. So we will see players rocket up the up the rankings. But excited to see how it all comes to a head by the time we get to the Crucible, and who might be on the website for Tour Survival, because as I say, there's a lot of big names down there, and we could see some big names drop off, but lots of snooker to be played before then.
Absolutely, Joe. Shall we jump into one of our regular features?
Let's go for it. Which one we going for?
Oh, Shall we cue the music first? Shall we do that?
Let's cue the music, Tom.
Now, this, Joe, is it's a song it's not by a snooker player, but it's about or inspired by a snooker player. When Hurricane Higgins died, his niece recorded a cover of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, so
okay,
that's what this is. I don't know if it'll compare with Joe Johnson's version. We don't have that yet.
Not yet.
But this is a child who I think must have been 7 or 8 by the sounds of it, singing Over the Rainbow as a tribute to her granddad, or her I think it's her granddad. I don't really know. Maybe. But there we go. There's the link, Joe.
Now I'm going to feel terrible for giving this a 1, Tom.
Oh, it's his 6-year-old great niece. Here we go.
Oh, no.
This is by Alex Mitchell. I don't know whether she was named after Alex Higgins, possibly. His 6-year-old great niece. I think it was released as a CD single and also on iTunes, Amazon. Probably some sort of charity thing.
Have you listened to this before, by the way?
Not this version, no.
Oh, okay.
I know the song, but...
So you have no idea what to expect here.
Joe, this could be the finest 2.5 minutes of your life.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
This is to my great uncle Alex. You were the greatest, the people's champion.
Well, Tom, I'm delighted to say we now know how Dennis Taylor would sing that song.
For all we know, it could have just been Dennis with helium singing it.
Yeah, it could well have been. It could well have been. So that was Alex Higgins' great niece, yeah.
6-year-old great niece, yeah.
Yeah, and for the people that are watching this, listening to this, and won't have seen how Tom was reacting to that song, I've lost a lot of respect for Tom over the last 3 minutes. Tom is simply a cruel person.
Oh, come on, mate. It's not great, is
it? Hey, this is Dennis Taylor. Alex Higgins' great niece that we're talking about here.
If it was Dennis Taylor, it would get a 10, but it's not.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's definitely that, but ultimately, Tom, this is not a sob show, is it? It's not for sob stories, I'm afraid. We've got to mark these on musical talent, I think, haven't we?
I mean, yes.
So therefore, Tom, I'm going to give you the first rating.
Oh no, that's not fair. Don't make me be mean to her. Actually, no, to be fair, she was 6 when she recorded this. And I think it was in 2010. So now she'd be 20. So I think it's fine. I think she'd even listen to it now and go, actually, it's a bit crap, mate.
Dear me. Wow, he's gone for it here. He has gone for it.
I mean, we can see where Alex Higgins got his singing in The Wanderer from.
Go on, Hurricane. It did lack that. It did lack a bit of Go on, Hurricane.
That's what it was missing. I wanted someone going, Go on, Hurricane.
Yeah.
Over the rainbow.
And just to give you an idea of some of the comments, we have James Thorpe 1655 saying, that's just lovely. We have Lawrence Cottam 398 saying, I don't cry at many things, but this did.
Yeah, it made me cry as well, mate.
Shawnee Gothic TV said, this girl must be related to Alex Higgins.
No, really?
And then something said, hi Alex, how is you summer now? There you go.
Are they talking to his niece or to actual Alex Higgins there?
Well, who knows? Who knows, Tom? I'm gonna guess it was to Alex.
Well, this song is on Spotify, by the way. If anyone wants to add it to their Spotify, yeah.
How many listens has it had?
Less than 1,000, Joe. Oh. Less than 1,000 since 2010. So
well, it's had 2 more now.
Yes, that's true. Well, no, we've had 2 more on YouTube where it's had 1,000 hits. For some reason, it's on a YouTube channel called Tune Asia. I don't know why it's on there at all.
Yeah,
doesn't really make
maybe
sense.
They're the only ones that would give it some airtime.
Maybe it charted in China. Who bloody knows? But I'm gonna give this. What did I give Jimmy White? I gave it a 1, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it made me laugh, but I don't think it was supposed to. Oh, I'm going to look awful here, but all I can do is be honest. I'm going to give it a 2.
A 2, okay. Right, and the way I'm going to judge this is I'm going to decide, is it better than this song? Is it better than Snooker Loopy, Big Bill Werbeneck 147 Pints Mix? Yes, it is. Is it better than Jimmy White Minted? I think it is. Is it better than The Wanderer? I don't know. Is it better than Hazel Irving? I'm not sure. I mean, I gave Jimmy White Minted 3, so I'm gonna give this a 3.5. It can have the extra 0.5.
Tell you what, then I'll give it 2.5.
No,
so
you can't change it now.
No, I'll give it 2.5. So in total, it's got six points for a 6-year-old. I think that's a nice, rounded thing. So well done, 2.5. Well done, Alex Mitchell.
And that puts it into. Let's just work it out here. Hazel. What's it doing? All right, sort. It's a long time since we've done this, Tom. It puts it into 39th place out of 41. So it does beat Minted by Jimmy White, and it does beat Snooker Loopy by Big Bill Werbeneck. But it is behind The Wanderer, 4 away. Which you gave a 4, to be fair. So, there you go. Well done, Alex.
I think I gave it a 4 because I called 4 away. I think that's the only reason it got...
That probably is... It sounds like the sort of reasoning that you give. I mean, other than Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Minted, and Snooker Loopy, you have given everything 4 or above.
There we go. I'm a fair critic, I think that shows. Or maybe I've got harsher in the past few months, because all these are recent ones. Maybe as we do more and more, you have to get more wide in your range, perhaps.
And you gave Snooker Loopy by Fiona 7.98, so, you know.
Well, I had to put it below Everlasting Love, mate, that's why.
Yeah. So there you have it. That is Snooker Loopy. No, it's not Snooker. It's Cue the Music for this week. It's not Snooker Loopy for this week. We do have one little treat for you, don't we? Shall we cue the laughter now?
We go. Yes, let's cue the laughter. This thing I've got, Joe, is something that really epitomises the 80s and how big snooker was then. This is from 1988, and what this is, Joe, it's an official snooker calendar.
Ooh, well, we do like official snooker calendars, don't we? And we talked about a Snooker Loopy calendar, didn't we, at some point?
Yeah, well, we'd have to compete with this one. I think we can do it. We'll get a picture of. We need Bingham in his hot tub. We'll need Dominic Dale in a space sausage costume.
Right, I am gonna pop it on the screen for everybody.
Lovely.
Let me just sort that out. Okay. There we go. Right. Perfect. I've got a big picture on the screen. And people watching at home are seeing my wonderful editing skills. And there it is, 1988. So, I mean, do you know much about this, Tom? Have you ever seen one out in the wild?
No, I've never seen one before. This is it's official from the World Billiards and Snooker Association, so it's a proper official product. Probably, once again, linked to Matchroom, I imagine. And I think I looked it up, and it was something like if you bought it now, the dates would match up for something like 2044 or something. So if anyone needs a calendar for 20 years' time, then get on board, because this person on eBay seems to have somehow they've sold 2 of them and there's 6 available. I don't know how they've got so many. But
yeah, Chepstow Auctions. So it seems like somebody has taken a whole load of them. Maybe that's how we'll eventually get the Joe Johnson CD
from Chepstow Auctions. Joe?
Yeah?
Really quickly, can you scroll down and tell me what's in your bit that says you may also like on this page?
Oh, dear. I mean, I've got similar items. I've not got you may also like on there.
Oh, do you not?
No. I think because I'm on the Snooker Loopy account, so I'm not actually signed in.
I mean, it's probably best you don't, because for some reason, all the related sponsored items, for me, are things such as the page 3 calendar from 1984.
I mean, I've got 1981 rare vintage Chinese mini pocket calendar. I've got that. But yeah, I don't have the page 3 bottles.
Genuinely, it just says you may also like, and it's got loads of like page 3 calendars and.
Yeah, I've got people who viewed this item also viewed the EastEnders 1988 authorised calendar.
Alright, so people in the 80s either liked snooker players, naked women, or EastEnders. Okay,
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's what people were into.
I mean, it's discontinued shop stock, this, apparently, according to the description. You know. But yeah, it may well... Oh, no, there are a few... oh, yeah, you may also like... I can see it now. It's right at the bottom. The page 3 calendar from 1984. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yes. And we've got Derriere's calendar,
Yes, I've got that
2001. We've got the erotic vintage pocket calendar from Portugal.
Why are these connected? I've got that as well.
Oh, dear. And then if you scroll down a bit further, you've got the Steve Davis signed photo print autographed snooker memorabilia. And you've got a picture of Jimmy White next to a Central Playboy Playmates glamour model calendar. There you go.
Why has eBay gone? Oh, if you like calendars of snooker players, you might also like these really. Does eBay think snooker is inherently erotic or something?
Well, I mean, if you scroll right to the bottom, you've got Men of the Millennium 2000. So, yes, this is definitely for Snooker Extra. Oh, snooker player figurine ornament. Let's have a look at this guy. Oh my goodness. This guy's wearing a monocle.
Right, so we've jumped onto a new item. We've jumped onto sporting Berties.
Berties, yeah.
Oh, his eye looks terrifying. I mean, look at his teeth. He's definitely British. There we go.
Let's see the product description for this. Pre-loved figurine, great idea for a snooker player or snooker fan. There you go.
1998. It feels like it should be older than that.
Yeah, absolutely. But there you go, Tom. There you go. Thanks for that one.
Are you going to buy the figure or the calendar?
You know what? I'm not. I'm tempted by the calendar to get ahead for 2044, but I somehow feel like it'll be even more out of date than it already is. I'm not sure Jimmy White will still be playing in 2044.
I think he will, mate. I think he will. Shall we have a run through of who the players are? So is that Jimmy White for January?
Let's have a look. Has it got... Is it in order, do you think? Oh.
I imagine that's January, February. I imagine Dennis is February.
Okay. I'm now stuck. Yes, there we go. I was stuck on the figurine there. Oh, now I have to scroll past all the page 3 girls again. Right, let's zoom in. So we've got Jimmy White as January, Dennis Taylor as February. Not sure who that is for March. Is that Perry Mann, maybe? Or... I'm not sure. Do you know who that is, Tom?
I don't know who it is, unless that's because it says Ray Reardon's on there. Unless that's an older Ray Reardon, but
nah, that's not Ray Reardon. I don't think.
I can't see anyone else who looks like Ray Reardon here. I'm very confused.
So Joe Johnson is April. Then we've got Steve for May, Willie Thorne for June. Is that Cliff? Cliff Thorburn?
Yeah, that's Cliff.
I'm not sure who that is. Is that Tony Knowles? Is it?
Oh, we're gonna have to buy this, Joe.
For August. And then you got Alex Higgins, Terry Griffiths, Neil Folds, and I don't know who number 12 is. So weirdly, it's who is number 12? Can you tell who number 12 is?
No, I can't. I can't make out who that
I don't
is.
think that's Ray Reardon. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it is.
Well, if anyone, obviously there'll be people who can see this in the video. If you let us know if you know who these people are, because
I mean, I'm sure people will know, but yeah, before our time, it's fair to say.
but we've got all of them apart from 2, right?
Yeah,
Or 3.
I'd love to know if or when was the last snooker calendar? When was the last one? I would certainly love to know that.
Well, I'm going to quickly look on eBay, see if there's any more, but I don't think. No, that's the only one that's on eBay. And again, literally all I searched was snooker calendar, and it goes results matching fewer words. There's a zoo calendar. There's 100% beef for gay calendar. What? I don't understand. Why? I think it's just showing me all the calendars, but clearly there's so many calendars that are just,
dodgy.
people want to look at naked people.
Yes. I can't really imagine having the page 3 girls up on my wall for a whole month. Do you know what I mean? Or a page 3 girl on my wall for a whole month. That would just, I don't know, just a bit weird, isn't it? The 80s were a simpler time.
I mean, they were. Interestingly, I was watching Only Fools and Horses a couple of months ago, and there's a bit in like the first series where there is a topless woman on the wall from a calendar.
Oh.
And on like the DVD releases, it's been blurred out.
Oh,
'cause
wow.
obviously they got that, but apparently when it originally aired, it wasn't blurred, and it's just so weird to just have that there in this family sitcom that's kind of meant to be very broad and for all ages, and Rodney's just got basically an FHM calendar on his wall.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
No sign of a snooker calendar, but I have found, Joe, someone else who listed the 1988 calendar, and it has got a list of the players.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Jimmy White, January. Dennis Taylor, February. March was Rex Williams.
Ah, Rex Williams. Okay.
Then Joe Johnson, Steve Davis, Willie Thorne. Then it was Cliff Thorburn, Tony Knowles, Alex Higgins, Terry Griffiths, Neil Farwoods, and Silvino Francisco.
Silvino Francisco. There you go.
So there is no Ray Reardon, despite what that person says.
No. I'm glad, it wasn't John Parrott or something, one that we should have got. But
yeah, well, there was one who looked a bit like him, but I was like, that's not him. It just looks.
Yeah, I think Tony Knowles looked a bit like him, didn't he? Maybe.
Well, I dare say that the general look for snooker players, particularly in the 80s, wasn't masses of variety. You were either bald or you had a bit of hair, and that's about.
Yeah.
We didn't have any, Paul Hunters with long flowing blonde hair, or Gary Wilson's with his green mohawk he had that time.
Yeah. Very good, good, Tom. No, thanks for that one. That was a good one.
And me doing that has saved me having to buy it for you for Christmas. So there you go.
Thanks, Tom. Yes, I'm looking forward to our annual Christmas present special and find out what we get. I'm still holding out for that Stephen Hendry action figure, Tom.
I might get you that ornament of that old man we just found.
Oh, please don't. Or maybe the Steve Davis one.
I'll put it in a Stephen Hendry action figure box, and you'll be really excited.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Do we have anything else to talk about today, Tom?
I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty much us done.
A roaring return to form, then, eh?
There we are, just less than an hour, so we've all done it in time for Joe. He has to rush off today.
Yes. Yes, I'm continuing the Captain Goodspeed World Tour. But before I go, Tom, quick announcement is that Season 2 of the Hazel Grove Snooker Division 2 is starting on the 31st of August. So Captain Goodspeed will be getting back into some real-life snooker. Also, the guy that won the league last year, undefeated, is not playing this time around. So it's opened up an opportunity for somebody to go and win it.
My money's on you, mate. My money is all on you. Putting it all on.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But yeah, no, that'll be good fun, and you'll be getting your regular updates on how I get on in real life snooker coming very, very shortly. But before we go, Tom, there are a couple of Fanzheng emails from Lars, one of our regular listeners. And, well, first one, it says, been a minute. Good evening, fellas. Back in Canada now since a while back. Just haven't had time to harass you with pointless emails until now.
We love harassment. Please send more.
Good to see you guys are keeping the podcast going during the lull of summer snooker. You're very welcome, Lars. Mind you, we have, of course, enjoyed the Championship League and now the Shanghai Masters. Particularly nice for me as a massive Selby fan to see him back in action. Hoping he can get off to a decent start to the new campaign. I want to say that I'm so very much in support of the tiered ranking events for snooker, like tennis does it. So that's in relation to our Snooker Loopy election special. Makes so much sense to me, hoping that this can become a reality in the future. Anyways, just wanted to say hi, I guess, and throw in not so few random predictions for the upcoming season. So, he's got 15 predictions here, Tom. 15.
I think Lars needs his own podcast, God.
Right. So, neither O'Sullivan or Trump will be the player of the season. They will not win more than 4 events combined. Neil Robertson will make a splash and return to fine form and win at least 3 events. I think
He'll
either...
make a splash. Is he competing in the diving at the Olympics now?
Yeah. I think either or all of Kowalski, Zizins, Revesh or McGuigan will do better as new arrivals on tour than most new arrivals in recent years. Very much looking forward to see what they can do. The Belgian Bullet will have another abysmal season and fall outside of the top 16, possibly even outside the top 32 after the World Championship. Jack Jones will not make it past the first round at the Crucible. Jack Lesowski will finally win his first and also second tournament on the tour. Kyron Wilson will not break the Crucible curse. Gu Kwang will continue his growth and reach his first ever ranked event semi-final. Baiyu Liu will win more than one ranked event qualifier match. Mark Allen will lose the number 1 spot in the ranking before long and not get it back. Not this season, not ever.
Wow,
Hossein
like Mark Allen.
Hossein Vafai will continue to shock with outrageous sore loser comments while being distracted by the snooker drama rather than playing, thus falling outside of the top 32. That's a big call. Joe O'Connor will win his first ever ranking event. Dominic Dale will sing on TV more than once. Matt Selt will fall off the tour. Zhang Anda will falter and fall outside of the top 16. Finally, thanks to Joe for the attempted shout-out in your last pod, and thanks, Tom, for shutting it down.
I don't remember doing that.
No,
okay.
Keep up the good work. No more garbage.
No worries, mate.
I think he's time-stamped the video. T equals 3:48, so I'll just sort of play that. Yeah, I did try and say it could be Lars for something, and you just sort of talked about the world. No idea what that was about, but there you go. So keep up the good work. No more garbage references from me, I promise. And then he did send a follow-up email after that about good evening, Hazel. Not sure if you guys listen to the official WST podcast or not. I'll let you decide that one, Lars. Either way, they had a fun addition to their latest episode of Fantasy 5 for the upcoming snooker season. They did a pretty basic approach without any age restrictions or rules other than pick 5 players, one in the 1 to 6 range, one in 7 to 16, 7 to 32, 33 to 64, and 64 plus. Their prize money equals your points, with one exception. The 64 plus player gets double points. He doesn't enjoy listening to their podcast much. I found that addition to be a fun thing. He's going to join, but won't even bother to tell them. More importantly, would you guys be interested? Tom liked that one.
I won't even tell them, mate. They're not even going to know that I'm joining in.
More importantly, would you guys be interested in doing something similar on your podcast? Could be a fun listener engagement thing. I think if one wanted to be serious, there ought to be some restrictions on who can pick in each range, so that not everyone picks every top player in each range. I was thinking a limit on how much money one has to spend, and each player is valued at their current world ranking prize money. That's an interesting idea. So if one picked Trump, that'd cost 909,000, etc. Maybe set a 1.5 million limit or something. He's going to pick his list based on that. So he's picked Judd Trump, Sean Murphy, Si Xiaowei, Tepchaya Undu, He Gu Kwang, all combined value of 1.852 million, so he's over budget. Anyway, just throwing around some ideas, looking forward to the next episode.
He's made his own game and broken the rules immediately.
He's broken the rules. Oh dear. Oh dear.
I think there should be a budget, but I'm going to completely ignore the budget.
Yeah. But no, thanks for your suggestion, Lars. I think that is something that we will probably think about. We'll go away, come up with some sort of concept, and maybe for the start of the UK snooker season, if you like. So when the English Open rocks around in middle of September, that's when we'll possibly announce something. When there's maybe a bit more interest in the game, and hopefully a few more people around.
Well, that's very much a spin-off of fantasy football, isn't it? Which obviously is a massive thing in the football world. I've done it a number of years. I'm sure you've probably done it as well, Joe, over the years.
Well, I've got my own league, Tom. Captain Goodspeed's league.
Do you?
I do.
Well, there
yeah.
we go. We should all join that league. There we are.
Yeah, if you want information on that, there will be a video going out on the channel in the next week or so.
But yeah, fantasy snooker's never really been a thing. I have looked for it before, and occasionally people try and basically launch something like it. But I just don't think, to get it set up properly, you need the infrastructure of WST to get behind it. Like, that's why fantasy football works, because the Premier League's behind it, and that means it's got a massive following.
Yeah.
If WST had a bit on their website that was called Fantasy Snooker with those rules that Lars suggested, I'm sure you'd get at least, a couple of thousand people who join in. It wouldn't be anywhere near like fantasy football, but I'm sure people would. I think the budget idea is a better idea, and it actually does make a bit more sense than, as you say, just going 1 to 6 and then 7 to 16 or whatever it was. I think it makes more sense to have a budget and be able to change that throughout the season, like football. I think that's a decent
and
idea.
Also, if you want to go for a bunch of 32 to 40 players, then you can. Nothing's stopping you. But that'll be interesting. Me and Tom will have a think and see if we can come up with something for it. But if you do want to get in touch, obviously all the details down below, snookerloopypodcast@gmail.com. And just to finish off, Tom, we have hit 200 subscribers on the YouTube over the last couple of days. So thank you very much for all of your support on that. Once we get to 500, that is when you can start to monetize the content. So that's our next target, is to get to 500. And hopefully we can do that by the end of the year. That would be amazing. Or the end of the season, probably more realistically. That would be absolutely amazing if we could do that. So if you do know anybody that enjoys snooker, do pass it on. I know a few people from even the Hazel Grove Snooker Club have found this podcast and started listening because it was brought up to me the last time I was there. So there you go. So thank you very much for getting involved and giving it a listen.
Beautiful. That's lovely. And I hope, Joe, that you do win the tournament. Is it going to be the same prize money this year?
I have no idea. It depends on how many people play in it. £20 per player.
Is it sponsored by Kazoo?
It's not. It's not. Although I do have my Kazoo umbrella that I could take.
Imagine if you sponsored it and said whoever wins gets this umbrella.
Hey, lots of people would like that umbrella, Tom.
Oh, they would, mate. It's probably worth about 12 quid on eBay.
Yeah.
You got it for free. You got two of them. Who needs two umbrellas?
Well, I think I only got one, actually. I don't think I got two.
I thought you got two, didn't you?
I don't think I got two.
Or did Rachel get one?
I don't think she did. I don't think she did. I think I've only got one. Sad times.
Okay.
Got two Stu Bingham balls, but
well, you need at least two.
Yeah. Well, that's that. There we go, Tom. I think we should shut up before this descends into madness.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Well, thank you, as always, everyone, for listening. Please do leave your comments below and let us know what you think and what you feel and who you think is going to have a really good season, because it is the start of proper, season now, I think, because we've had the Championship League, which is a bit of a weird ranking tournament. The Shanghai Masters isn't invitational, but now we're coming up to the full proper, all 128 players playing a ranking event. That's when it feels like it actually does start, because everyone's involved. So I think we're all very excited. So let us know who you think is going to have a great season. A bit like what Lars did, let us know, and we can read it out. You don't have to give us 15 predictions. You could just give us 2. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Or you
give
could
us 30.
20.
Yeah.
Maybe we should see how many we can get Joe to read out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll catch you very soon. And yeah, it's goodbye from Dennis.
And it's goodbye from Tom.
Cheers, Den.